sharira Hari Hari Bali Te Naine Pabenira Goranga Balide Abe Pulaka Sharira Hari Hari Balide Naine Pabenira Ara kabeni tai chande karuna hoibe samsara vasana mora kabe tu chahabe Hara kabeni tai chande karuna hoibe samsara vasana mora kabe tu chahabe Vishaya Charya Kabe Shuddhabe Mana Kabe Hama Heraba Shri Vrindavana Rupa Raghunatha Kabe Hoibe Akuti Kabe Hama Bhujabase Yugala Piriti Rupa Raghunatha Pare Hoibe Akuti Kabe Hama Bhujabose Yugala Piriti Rupa Raghunatha Pare Rahu Marasha Prarthana Koro Ye Sada Narotamo Dasa Rupa Raghunatha Pade Rahumara Asha Pratana Koro Ye Sada Narottamo Dasa. Goranga Bolite Habe Pulaka Sharira Hari Hari Bolite Naine Pabe Nira. Gauranga Balite Habe Pulaka Sharir. When will the time come when I'll be chanting the name of Gauranga and there'll be a shivering in the body? Hari Hari Balite Naine Babe Nir. When will I chant the name of Hari and tears will come from my eyes? Harakave Nitai Chander Karuna Haibe. When will Lord Nityananda show me his mercy and all my material desires will seem insignificant? Vishaya Charya Kabe Shuddha Habe Mana Kabe Hama Herabo Shri Vrindavana. When will my mind become purified of all material desires and I'll be able to see the land of Vrindavan? Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti Kabe Hama Bhuthabe Se Yuga Puliti. When will I study the literature left by Rupa and Raghunath, and I'll be able to understand the conjugal pastimes between Radha and Krishna? Rupa Raghunatha Pade Rahu Mora Asha Prarthana Korye Sada Narottam Das. So, Narottam Das Thakur prays that he'd always be a follower of Rupa and Raghunath Das Goswamis. Om Agyanatimanandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Pandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Vrajana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vasakans Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hri Priye Panchakalpa Trivyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranitananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, Brahma's prayers to Lord Krishna, text number 25. Atmanam eva. Oh, this is, do they have words like that in Slovene? Atmanam evat mata ya vijanatam. Tenaiva jatam nikilam prapanchitam. Yanena bhuyopi cha tat praliyate. Rajam ahir boga bhava bhavo yata. Atmanam evatmata yaji jatanam. Tenaiva jatam nikilam prapanchitam. Gyanena bhuyopi chatat praliyate. Rajam mahera boga bhava bhavo yata. Tenaiva jatam nikilam prapanchitam. Gyanena bhuyopi chatat praliyate. Rajam mahera boga bhava bhavo yata. Atmanam evatma yaja vijanatam. Tenaiva jatam nikilam prapanchitam. Yanena bhuyopi chatat praliyate. Rajam mahira boga bhava bhavo yata. Ladies. Atmanam evatam yaji janatam. Tainaiva jatam nikilam prapanchitam. Yanena bhuyopi chatat praliyate. Rajam mahira boga bhava bhavo yata. Atmanam, yourself. Eva, indeed. Atmataya, as the Supreme Soul. Avijñātam, for those who do not understand. Tena, by that. Eva, alone. Jatam is generated. Nikilam, the entire. Prapanchitam, material existence. Jnanena, by knowledge. Bhuya api, once again. Cha, and. Tat, that material existence. Praliyate, disappears. Rajam, within a rope. Ahe, of a snake. Bhoga, of the body. Bhava abhavo, the apparent appearance and disappearance. Yata, just as. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. A person who mistakes a rope for a snake becomes fearful. but he then gives up his fear upon realizing that the so-called snake does not exist. Similarly, for those who fail to recognize you as the Supreme Soul of all souls, the expanse of illusory material existence arises, but knowledge of you at once causes it to subside. So please repeat. A person who mistakes a rope for a snake becomes fearful, but he then gives up his fear upon realizing that the so-called snake does not exist. Similarly, for those who fail to recognize you as the Supreme Soul of all souls, the expanse of illusory material existence arises, but knowledge of you at once causes it to subside. Purport. Those submerged in illusion see material existence as infinite, just as one who is submerged in water sees only water all around him. For example, material scientists and philosophers submerged deep within the ocean of material illusion. Imagine that material nature extends infinitely in all directions. In fact, the material creation is a finite ocean of ignorance in which foolish living entities, such as material scientists, are unceremoniously dunked by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To be trapped in a world in which all things are born and die is certainly a fearful experience. Anyone trapped in a dark place naturally becomes fearful. Once material life is always covered by the darkness of ignorance, every conditioned soul is fearful. Material nature is not ultimate reality, and thus analysis of matter can never provide answers to ultimate questions. This dark, snake-like existence called material life immediately disappears as soon as one opens his eyes to the bright light of Krishna consciousness. Translation again. Person who mistakes a rope for a snake becomes fearful, but he then gives up his fear upon realizing that the so-called snake does not exist. Similarly, for those who fail to recognize you as the Supreme Soul of all souls, the expanse of illusory energy existence arises, but knowledge of you at once causes it to subside. Namo Vishnu Varaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya Srimad Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Bacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskyadyade Sadarne. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karna Karna. That Krishna is the Ishvara of everything. He's the controller of everything. And if we understand that Krishna is all good, then we can understand how everything is actually good. Now, in one sense, we can also understand how everything is not good. In the sense that if we turn our face away from Krishna, that's not good. Because then we merge into an ocean of illusion where we imagine ourselves to be this body in a temporary material existence, and we become subjected to the threefold miseries. Now, to accept and understand Krishna, we have to understand and accept how his energies are working. Otherwise, we'll be caught up in this idea of friends and enemies, as Krishna says, and those who are friends and enemies, indifferent and impartial, etc., etc. But actually, no one is our friend. No one is our enemy. Everyone is an instrument for Krishna, either directly or indirectly. Directly, Krishna manifests himself through others, through devotional service, and indirectly through the modes of material nature. Therefore, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Idam tu te guyatamam pravaksham anasuyave jnana vijnana sayitam yajgatva moksha se shuva. Because you are never envious of me, Arjuna, I'll explain to you both this knowledge, theoretical and practical, applied, by which you'll become free from all the miseries of material existence. So in other words, it is quite easy to understand why one would be envious of Krishna. Because even in this material world, even one has a little bit more beauty than we do, then we become envious of them. Why does this person have more beauty than I do? Why do they have more wealth than I do? Why are they more intelligent than I am? Why are they stronger than I am? Why are they more renounced than I am? So we become envious of anyone who has better qualities than we do. That's called material consciousness. That is material consciousness. Is enviousness of anyone who has more qualities than we do. Because we're not conscious that ultimately everyone is equal. Equally small. Qualitatively, we're all equal to Krishna, because we're all eternal, we're all by nature full of bliss, and we all have, by nature, full consciousness of reality. Our consciousness is uncovered by these material conceptions. So, but quantitatively, we're all very tiny, equally tiny. Now, someone may be less tiny than someone else, but compared to Krishna, we're all tiny. And at perfection, we exist in our own perfection. It's that in the material world, there's a constant competition for who's better than someone else. And we're involved in our false ego, somehow or another, trying to be a better controller and a better enjoyer than others. But this is due to our false ego, because neither we're the controllers of the material energy, nor we can actually enjoy the material energy in the real sense of enjoyment. There is some satisfaction from the material nature, because the material nature is an expansion of Krishna and has some of the qualities that Krishna has. But because it's temporary and limited, it can't give us the full satisfaction that we're looking for. And therefore this competition in the material world to be the supreme enjoyer and the controller is a waste of time for the soul. Not a complete waste of time, because we do get a little enjoyment and a little sense of controlling, but actually it never completely satisfies us. On the other hand, if we understand our position, our constitutional position, as an instrument for Krishna, and don't see others as objects of competition, but objects of service on behalf of Krishna, as an instrument for Krishna, then we get out of material consciousness, which means basically we get out of the material existence. Because material existence, for us, exists only because we accept a certain mentality or a certain consciousness, and that certain consciousness covers our real consciousness, and therefore we get a material experience. That's material existence. There's nothing but material experience. But if we give up our material attachment to our material experience, our material conceptions, then we get spiritual experience, which is absolute, and which everyone is welcome to experience. There is no one in this universe who is not eligible to come to this absolute platform and experience Krishna consciousness, especially in the human form of life, by following the process and hearing properly, one can come to that perfection of life. And there, in that perfection, there is no material competition, there's only spiritual competition to see who can satisfy Krishna more by developing an attitude or a desire to serve Krishna humbly, submissively and humbly, and at the same time wanting to serve and satisfy everyone else. So there is a competition in the spiritual world amongst everyone who can be more loving and serving everyone, Krishna and everyone else too. So that's a very nice competition. That makes everything more blissful, more loving, and everyone's invited to engage in that competition. So either we're going to be engaged in the competition of seeing who's going to be the greatest from the material point of view, the greatest person in illusion, often, or who's going to be the greatest devotee, the humblest, the most loving, the most anxious to serve and appreciate everyone else. So that's also a competition. Therefore, now in the material existence, we're looking at the material existence as like a snake. Our existence is like a snake, and we're fearful. Vayam dvitiyani bhiveshitasyad isharabatasya viparyo smriti. As soon as one enters material, accepts material consciousness, that is, instead of thinking about how to serve Krishna under the guidance of his representatives, we start thinking about how to compete with others, even using Krishna as the means to do so. Then at once we become fearful because we're put into illusion. And we think this material world is a place of struggle, a place of competition, a place of fear. But when we accept it in relation to Krishna as an opportunity for service, then we can see actually there's nothing to be afraid of, there's nothing to be envious of, there's nothing to be in competition for, that it's simply an opportunity to develop our spiritual desires, and therefore it's a great positive opportunity. Even it says in the greatest difficulty, if one is actually conscious of Krishna or trying to become conscious of Krishna, then it's a great opportunity to learn how in the midst of difficulty to remain in Krishna consciousness, and Krishna reciprocates. Or as Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gita, in 434, therefore, mental speculation or dry arguments cannot help one progress in spiritual life. Nor by independent books of knowledge can one progress in spiritual life. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Such knowledge should be accepted in full surrender, and one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Therefore, the path of spiritual life is really the opposite of the path of material life. Material life means that we're being learned how to win the struggle for material existence, to become a better something than others. Even if it's to put more tattoos all over our body, we think we've won the competition. Somehow or another, be profit, adoration, and distinction. So the opposite is become a menial servant. If you put an advertisement in the newspaper, we're going to train you to become a menial servant. How many people will sign up for the course? Of course, if we tell you you're going to become a menial servant of a perfect person, still how many people are going to sign up for the course? If they do, it's only because, anyhow, I don't think many people, first of all, will believe there's such a thing as a perfect person. And they won't understand without some explanation, some training, what a perfect person is. Just like one devotee was sitting giving a class, and someone walked into the class and looked at the devotee and said, "You told me this man is perfect, but I see he's wearing glasses, so how can he be perfect?" So he left the class. So it takes some training to understand what perfection is, because in the material world we have our conception. One has a material conception of perfection, which is very much different from a spiritual conception. For instance, in the material conception, if one is very proud and puffed up of his accomplishments, one wins gold medals in the Olympics and wears the gold medals around his neck, that's considered perfection. He's proud, but he has a good reason to be proud, because he's better than everyone else. And in the spiritual world, one is humble because he thinks that, his perfection is he's humble because he sees everyone else is better than him. He sees everyone else as more loving and dedicated servant of Krishna than he is. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. So, if we actually have the conception of what a perfect person is, like Srila Prabhupada, completely dedicated to the helping others come to the platform of reviving their relation with Krishna, and perfectly empowered by Krishna to do that, then one should accept such a person in full surrender and serve the spirit. And if the only way of actually making advancement is to follow such a person's example and instructions, because otherwise, if someone is perfect, anything you do that's different from what he's saying and what his example is going to be less than perfect. So the spiritual master is satisfied not because he's being given money and presents, because he actually sees that his disciples or followers are actually making advancement towards their relation with Krishna, of which he has full knowledge of. At least he's conscious of his relation with Krishna. And how to achieve that? Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding. So we should be inquisitive. At least, for instance, we say that Krishna is the supreme person, the source of everything. That he has all beauty, all knowledge, all strength, all wealth, all renunciation, etc., etc. So we should become inquisitive. What would it be like to become conscious of such a person? And then we should follow the process called submission in order to make advancement. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. Unless we're willing to follow the process by actually doing real service, then even though we may be inquisitive, what is Krishna like, we'll never find out. Just being inquisitive about something is not enough to experience it. We have to follow the process. One should be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. So it's not a question of just doing things mechanically so we get the result. One actually has to go through the trials that Krishna will present. The path of spiritual life is not an easy path that we just chant Hare Krishna and take prasadam and we reach the perfection of life. No, one has to be able to chant Hare Krishna in all circumstances. Not just when, as it says in English, fair weather friends. When everything is going nicely, then we're Krishna conscious. And as soon as there's some difficulty, we start blaming Krishna. Why are you putting me in difficulty? What did I do? I'm an innocent victim. There's something wrong with you. No, we have to maintain the same mood of devotion in all circumstances. So we have to practice that. And as we practice it, even to a little bit, when Krishna sees our sincerity, then he gives the intelligence to the spiritual master to bless us with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. One should not only hear submissively, but one should get a clear understanding through submission, service, and inquiries. So inquiry is important, and following service is important, but it shouldn't be just blind following and absurd inquiries. We just don't follow blindly. And our inquiries we should follow with intelligence, with knowledge. And at the same time, our inquiries should be about how to serve Krishna and his devotees in such ways to make spiritual advancement, such as by satisfying them. So we should not only hear submissively, but we should get a clear understanding of what Krishna actually wants us to do and how he wants us to do it. So, a bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind to the disciple. And so when the disciple is always submissive, is ready to render service, then the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect. So it's not that Krishna is pure representative, or even partial representative, doesn't want us to become Krishna conscious, but it's required. There's a process. For instance, coming to class, not only once a week, or once a month, or in the festivals, whatever. If one actually wants to make spiritual advancement sincerely, it has Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravanam Kirtana. Then the more, or every day we should say, every day, one needs some spiritual nourishment. Just like, generally speaking, people will not be healthy if they only eat once a week. You have to eat every day. Similarly, spiritually, health requires we practice every day. Otherwise, as soon as we stop practicing, then we're practicing material life again. But we have to practice so that material life decreases and spiritual life increases. Therefore, there's a reciprocal, when the student is always submissive, it is ready to render service. So we have to be submissive, and we have to be submissive to hear the actual philosophy, accept it, and then try to apply it and render service. Then the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries become perfect. So then what we're trying to experience, what we're trying to find out about, then Krishna will supply that. Didami buddhi yogam tam. Then Krishna will give us the experience, the realizations that we're actually hankering for, of love and bliss, knowledge eternally. So again, here it says that the material nature is just like a snake, but it's only in our imagination. But you have to follow the process so the snake-like material existence is recognized as Krishna's mercy. And that everything that we're going through, good or bad, is arranged by Krishna to inspire us to fix our minds upon him and take shelter of him through the process of devotional service. Otherwise, if one doesn't utilize this human form of life and recognize the ups and downs as opportunities to take shelter of Krishna, then the human form of life is just wasted. Shrama evahi kevala. If one is not inquisitive about Krishna consciousness, is not submissive to the method, doesn't submissively hear about the method of becoming Krishna conscious and apply it within one's life, then one's life will always remain unachieved one will always feel like one has not achieved anything of value, of real value, and one will always be unsatisfied. One's inquisitiveness of experiencing Krishna consciousness will not be completely fulfilled. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, can you tell us more about what jivas do in the spiritual world between them? We know that they have a relationship with Krishna, but what about interactions between them?
We can read the Krishna book. There's a lot of information there about what they do. They make garlands together for Krishna. They dance together for Krishna. They cook and they serve each other prasadam. The same things that we do here. They talk about Krishna with each other, their love for Krishna, and they share that, their realizations about Krishna. They talk and someone else hears, and they hear and someone else talks. They make prasadam for each other, and they distribute it to each other. And they inquire about different aspects of how to render better service, how to sing better for Krishna, how to dance better for Krishna. They learn from each other. They teach each other how to serve Krishna better.
Do they have like relationships between themselves, like friendship or paternal or something?
Yeah, of course they're friendly with each other. As far as parental, yeah, there's there. Well, it's right there in the Krishna book. Krishna had there's so many ladies in Vrindavan, and they all had children who were friends of Krishna, the cowherd boys, and they had gopis, girls who were lovers of Krishna. So they had children. Here in this Boma Lila, they had children. They were friends with each other. Govardhan, Nanda Maharaj's brother Govardhan, and others in the family, they all were all concerned about Krishna, and they worked together to serve Krishna in friendship. Everything is there. This is just a reflection. How can something be here and not be there? How can there be a reflection of an apple tree with apples or whatever? And there can't be an apple. There must be an apple tree with everything that's on the reflected tree. So everything's there, but in truth, permanently, eternally.
I heard, I don't know if I maybe wrote it, maybe I remember it incorrectly, from one of the Shivaran Swami's books about more deeply when he went to Damodara Ashtaka, Damodara Lila, that the parents of Krishna's friends, they are taking care of their children just because they are playing with Krishna. This is the main reason why they are taking care of them.
No, they love their children. They're also expansions of Krishna. Why wouldn't they love Krishna? Krishna is expansions.
Okay.
And Krishna is in their hearts, so they're as powerful as Krishna in terms of love. Otherwise we think, someone like Prabhupada, Krishna only loves him because, I mean, a pure devotee like Prabhupada, who brought Krishna to this world, is a representative of these personalities in the spiritual world. They're lovable. Why wouldn't their parents love them? Because they're lovable. They may love Krishna more, but also they're also almost as lovable as Krishna is. When they see their children, because their children are not different from Krishna, they're qualitatively equal to him in every respect. They love their children. They don't see their children as apart from Krishna. Like the leaves and branches of a tree are not apart from the tree. You can't say, I love the tree, but I don't love the leaves and branches.
Thank you. So we first develop love for Krishna, and then because we love Krishna, then we love everything connected to Krishna, and then easily we will love everything else connected to Krishna. Is this the process?
Well, we can't love anyone unless we see it in relation to Krishna. Yeah, I mean, Krishna is always the center. Without the roots, there's no leaves and branches. So Krishna is the source of everything. He's unlimited. And others are lovable because Krishna is in their heart. That little spark is not just a little spark, it's the full fire in there. With this, it's the spark and the full fire. So obviously they're all lovable. If Krishna is lovable, and you have the little spark and you have the full fire, and Krishna is pleased when you serve the spark, then then you want to please Krishna, you please everyone. Krishna is more pleased when you please his devotee than when you try to please him directly. You can't really try to please them unless you love them, but they're lovable because Krishna loves them and they love Krishna, and we love to hear about the pastimes. We hear about Mother Yasoda with Krishna, and it's lovable, like in that Leela. We don't have a Leela just with Krishna and no one else. And that's Mother Yasoda was lovable, and Krishna in her relation with Krishna, and it's enjoyable, it's lovable hearing about that. Then we wouldn't have any Leelas. We'd be impersonal.
So when we are trying to develop love towards something, and we are not separated from Krishna, that's material. Yes.
Well, Krishna encourages us to see everyone and everything in relation to him, because there's nothing apart from him. So that's reality. It's not that we can love outside of reality. The reality is lovable because Krishna is everything, is everywhere, and everyone is an expansion of him. So everything Krishna is lovable, and everyone else is lovable too.
Thank you for clarification.
Anything else? Yes.
About accepting spiritual master and authorities. Sometimes aspiring devotees, they are very dutiful in their task, like in school, in job, and so on. But you ask them, today is Ram Navami, can you come? And they're like, oh, no, because I have this other duty. So how to somehow make it that they understand that maybe this Krishna conscious duty is more important.
Just participate more yourself in the process, become more enthusiastic about it, and that enthusiasm will be conveyed to others the best you can. In other words, if you really like something, then others will naturally become inquisitive. Why does this person like this so much? So you have to awake the inquisitiveness. Why is this person enjoying it so much? Maybe I should enjoy it too. Otherwise, how many places would you like to go to where people are demanding that you go, unless you're useless? If that's the attitude. Would you like to go to a place where people think, you must come, or else you're finished? Now people, they naturally have a taste for things. They have taste for things that they enjoy, or will help them enjoy. And if they see someone else has a taste for, is enjoying something, then naturally they become inquisitive. Maybe I should try to enjoy that too. Otherwise, how do you sell a book? You take this book, or else you're going to hell. No, it's enthusiasm. When you present something enthusiastic and intelligently, people become curious. What's in it? And then they buy the book. Anything else? Hvala. Grantaraj srimad-bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande.